Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Art of Cooking Well. My name is Amber Beebe, and soon we'll be joined by Jen Hosier in the kitchen. We are the bariatric dietitians here at St. Luke's, and we are so excited to be cooking. And we've got October Frightening Fall Fun. We're going to be whipping up some awesome recipes today for you. Before we begin, just so you all know, we are recording this class. So if you want to watch it later or you have to leave at some point, we do record it and we post it within about a week on our St. Luke's Health System YouTube page. Let's see. And then if you have any questions or anything along the way, please feel free to type those in the chat or any comments or anything. We love interactivity with the class. And so I think I'm going to turn it over to, last thing, if you're new here, please keep your microphones muted. You can have your video on because when we record it, your face is not on there. Everything's blurred out. So you can have your video on for the live class and then we will blur you out for the recording. So thank you all for coming, and I'm going to send it on over to Jen in the kitchen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Witches and wizards, ghouls and goblins. Welcome to October, our Halloween themed cooking class. So here I am in all of my good garb here, ready to cook with you in the kitchen. And we have some, I guess we could say, frightening recipes today. Actually, we've got some really good stuff here going on, whether you like to celebrate Halloween or not. These are just some really nice fall themed recipes. They're tasty. They're also good for you. We got a lot of protein and plants going on here, which is always our goal, and a little bit of a treat as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our stew. We have a skeleton's Southwest stew, aka kind of like a taco soup, basically, is what we've got going. And what I've already done here in my big pot is I have already pre-cooked or pre-browned 2 pounds of meat. So it can really be up to you which kind of meat you like. You can do beef, you can do turkey, you can do chicken. We actually did a mix. I have 1 pound of beef and 1 pound of ground chicken. I like the beefy flavor, but the chicken kind of increases the protein, but doesn't have, quite as much of the fat. It's a little leaner. I just thought a combination would be good. And so I already pre-browned the 2 pounds in here and got that all really good and broken up. And then a lot of this really is quite easy. I think you'll find this one, other than browning and maybe chopping up a bell pepper, it's a pretty easy recipe because all we're going to do is start dumping our ingredients into the pot. So I've turned up the heat here so that we can start warming everything up. And I've got a couple different cans of some tomatoes. So I've got some diced tomatoes and some stewed tomatoes. We got a little bit of chili flavor in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and dump these in, juice and all. Juice is good. It's fine, right? We want this to be kind of a little bit soupy is what we want. And then we want to have some beans, right? So we've got some tomatoes and chili and a little bit of seasonings in there. And then we're going to add some beans. These can be really whatever you want or whatever you have. Quite honestly, 2 cans of beans. I kind of like the black beans because I think they add a different color. And then I like the white beans because they add another color, right? So we like to have color. My white beans don't want to come out. They're super thick. There we go. Come on out. Come on out and play. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get those all tossed out. So basically, you're just warming this up now and stirring this up. I'm trying not to get my cape into the open flame on the stove here. Safety first. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of let that start to get a little bit warm, but we're going to add some flavor. And again, this is going to be some nice, easy flavor here. I've got 2 packets of taco seasoning. If you don't really like a lot of that flavor or some of the heat or a little bit of that spice that comes with taco seasoning, you can just use 1. And so that's not really a huge deal there. But we like the flavor, don't we, Amber? Amber likes it a little spicy. She likes it more spicy than I do. I'm definitely kind of a wimp when it comes to that. I try, but what can I say? So we got our 2 packets of our taco seasoning going in, and then 1 packet of ranch. right? So that one might seem weird, but that's going to add a lot of extra flavor into this. So an easy thing that you can do, or if you have one of the big containers of either of these, the equivalent of what packet, of course, is what you're putting in here. So I'm going to get that stirred in as well. This is just a really easy way to add a lot of the flavor to this pot. And then we're going to add I guess we could say a secret fall ingredient. We're going to add some pumpkin. I've just got some pureed pumpkin here. We're using pumpkin in another recipe today, which we'll get to here shortly. But I thought, why not put the rest of the pumpkin in the stew? You know, when you have those times when you open a can of pumpkin and you only use like a quarter cup out of the can, and then you've got this whole can of pumpkin. What am I going to do with this pumpkin? So maybe y'all don't have that problem. Does anyone have that problem? Let's take a poll. What do you do with the spare pureed pumpkin when you open a can and you only use part of it? Today, we're putting it in our stew. Why? A lot of good nutrients in here. This is going to add some fiber. And quite honestly, it's just going to taste like whatever else in the pot. So it's not going to taste like pumpkin stew. It's going to taste like all the seasonings that we just put in there. So we're going to pop that guy in as well and get that stirred in. I like to use pumpkin in stew in the fall. We've done that a lot actually in the past. I don't know. It's pumpkin season, right? It's pumpkin spice season, but I think that could be a little weird in a stew. So we're going to add some pumpkin. Oh, do we have some good suggestions? Oh, Amber's flagging me down. She's like, we got some good ones. Tell me.
Turn my mic on.
Oh, she has to turn her mic on. Stand by.
Maggie said she freezes little clumps for dog treats.
Oh, that's
So
a great idea. Just put it you just put little dollops on a tray maybe and freeze it, or you could do it in ice cubes and pop those
She's
out.
got a tiny dog. I don't know.
That's
And
right.
then another
She
one
has
is
a tiny dog.
put it in a smoothie for
for
the leftovers.
That's also a fantastic idea. Love it.
And
Yeah.
Barb says pumpkin pie without the crust.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. There's actually a lot of little pumpkin desserts that you can make. Like the pumpkin pie plus, custard, those kind of things. So fantastic. All right, you guys. So I've cranked up all the heat on this, and this is starting to warm up. And that's really what, technically you want to bring it to a boil, but I'm probably just going to toss stuff in here because I'm ready and it's getting warm. So it's going to be fun. So we've got everything in here, but we have more, right? So this is a vegetable packed pot. We've already got a few things in here. We got the tomatoes and the beans and the pumpkin in there. So we're going to add a couple other easy peasy additions here. I've got half of a bag of a frozen pepper and onion blend. And so I'm going to toss half a bag in here. So we got three more plants. 1, 2, 3. And then I also have half of a bag of some frozen cauliflower and broccoli. Does that sound a little weird? Well, maybe, but honestly, it gets in there. And again, it just kind of tastes like everything else in the pot. It just all comes together really nicely. And for my preference, some of these are still a little big. So I'm going to cut these up a little bit. I just don't, they're too big for the bite. You know what I mean? Too big for the bite. So we got to chop them up a little bit. But they chop pretty easily, actually. Already frozen. All right, so let's get these tossed in here. Oh yeah, we're coming to a boil. We're getting some bubbles coming to the top. This is great. There we go. Wipe the hands. So then we're just going to stir this in. And really what you want to do, oh, I got an onion that tried to get away. You're going to want to let this sit and cook all of these vegetables up. You're going to want to give it some time. So I would say at least 10 minutes. Longer if you want. I'm going to add also this yellow bell pepper that we have. So we got another vegetable, more color, boom, in it goes. If you like your vegetables a little bit more al dente, then you may not want to cook this for too long. Again, maybe only 10 or 15 minutes. I kind of like mine a little dead and mushy. I like them like really cooked in there. So I probably will let it sit for at least 20 minutes. That's just my preference. So, but all you got to do now is just let it sit and do its good work in the pot. It can just sit there and do its thing. And once it's had some time to cook, we're going to turn that temperature down. And then I'm going to add a block of cream cheese. You can get whatever fat level you prefer, but this is going to add some creaminess. And so is a cup of Greek yogurt. So this is plain Greek yogurt. Again, whatever fat level you prefer. We're going to let this cook at a higher heat for a while before we put these creamy things in. But that is it, guys. Like, this is an easy pot. And I know this is huge. It's actually pretty full. But this is going to feed a crowd or a party, or it's going to freeze really well. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to cook that much and you just want to be able to pull it out and just heat it up and eat it, this is really a fantastic solution. It's going to stay in the freezer for a few months. So I think you're going to be in good shape if that is your situation as well. So I think we're done with this one, Amber. I think we can take a commercial break. And I'll let Amber share a few things with you. And I'm going to go ahead and get ready for this next one. You guys are going to like this one. It's going to be good. See you in a minute.
Okay, everyone. Yes, I wanted to make sure that I didn't finish my spiel in the beginning. I want to make sure that you all understand, because some of you are repeat customers. You come to all our cooking classes. It's amazing. But some of you are like, hey, and then I'm not on there, my chart anymore. You've got to send us an email, right, to bariatric support at slhs.org. I believe we'll have that. I believe it's in one of the slides at the end, but you need to be signed up. Some of you are current. I've got you signed up till January and you're all good. But, you know, we don't have like 2 years worth of schedule in our scheduling, because things change for one, but you got to let us know if you want to be in the class. So it will show up in your My Chart. And then the cool thing is if you can't make it, then you'll automatically get the recipes. We realize it's a working time. We're working. So we understand that can be inconvenient at times. But again, we record them and just want to make sure that we are recording them so that you want to watch us, watch Jen dance around in the kitchen, then you can watch it later if you'd like. Or the cool thing about YouTube is if you have family or friends that are like, I want to do it, then you can just direct them right to it. And if you need extra recipes, just let us know. We are trying to figure out a way to have the recipes on the YouTube channel. I'm working with the tech guy to see if we can have them attached. That'd be amazing. We're very hopeful for that. But things take a while in the organization, unfortunately, that don't always go as fast as I want to go, coming from small business owner, right? So anyway, let's see. What are we going to talk about now? We're going to talk about the plant count. Holy moly. I know some of you that have joined us a lot in the past couple of months with our Garden Fresh goodies, with our different classes. This plant count is big. Okay, we want to try to aim for 30 plants a week. 30, right? Now, I'm not even counting the spices in that taco pack. I'm not even counting those, which technically count as plants. I'm just counting what we're putting in the recipe. We're at 11 to 13. Now, those optional toppings, cilantro, jalapeno, green onion, or chives or black olives, that would bump it up. So that's why I said 11 to 13. It actually is closer to 11 to 14. Plants in one dish. And let me tell you, it's good. It's really good. We made one a couple years ago that was more like a Cincinnati, what do you call that? A Cincinnati style chili, and it was really good too. So these are fantastic, and I highly recommend freezing them for. I do have a couple patients that don't love to cook. They either live alone or they live in a family where the family eats a bunch of junk and they want to eat good. And so definitely freezing is an ideal situation. If you have the capability, here's how I do it. Well, I'm trying to think, how do I do it? Like in kind of a shallow dish, I freeze it and then I pop it into my food saver bags and shrink wrap it. That way, get all the air out of it. It lasts longer in the fridge if you do that, especially individual. You can do individual sections. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting with this. Oh, another thing that is pretty high in fiber. I know on the recipe, it's a half of a cup. It says 2 grams. Some of you may be able to eat more than that, especially if those of you that haven't had surgery yet, or you have a larger stature that you might be able to eat a little bit more. But it's got 11 grams of protein, pretty stout on protein, good on the sodium, and it's fairly low in calories, which is also ideal. So and a little bit of calcium, just a little bit from that yogurt and the cream cheese. So we're kind of bumping on that as well. In our next break, we will talk a little bit about net carbs. It keeps coming up in our practice, and it's not really how we focus our program on, just because some of the manufacturers out there are really pushing that instead of eating whole foods, right? I have a great question. Cornelia said, can you leave the meat out? Of course. That's just going to bring your protein down a little bit. But yeah, you can leave the meat out. You've got the beans, you've got a lot of vegetables in there. Totally. That's up to you. We just always try to sneak more protein in, Cornelia, whenever we can. Especially those people that have had surgery. I can't remember if you have or not. That doesn't matter. The whole point is we want to get the most nutrition in the smallest serving size. So that's why we pack the meat in there. So, all right, we're moving on. We're going to the end. We're going to dessert first. So we're skipping from the main meal to dessert. All right, I'm going to send it on over to Jen in the kitchen as we move on to dessert.
So yeah, we're going to move on dessert, and I'll add a little bit to what Amber was saying. Yeah, protein is so important, even for our patients who are trying to lose weight and haven't had the weight loss surgery, or maybe trying to change some of their lifestyle choices, or they're trying to use some of the weight loss medications. Protein is so important. You don't need to go crazy, but there is a certain amount that you need to get in a day, and in order to help maintain your muscle mass and your strength. And that's kind of like your weight regain resistor, is that muscle mass. So if you can keep your muscle mass by providing your body with enough protein and doing some strength training, you really kind of need the two. That's really going to help you with long-term success, because muscle is what really helps boost our metabolism. And so we like to maintain or get more of that as much as we possibly can within our own personal limits. Okay, let's move to dessert, shall we? Because really, we just need to get dessert in the oven is really what we need to do. So we are going to make, they're going to be so good. These are some donuts. All right, so these are some Spellbound spiced donuts, AKA pumpkin spice donuts. But Spellbound sounds so much cooler considering it's October and Halloween time. So we're going to go ahead and put together some donuts. So this may sound like, it sounds kind of hard, guys. I don't know. But honestly, it's really quite easy. And what we've done is we purchased a combo, a 3-pack actually. Amber bought these. She really wanted to get some donut molds / bagel molds. You can do that too. So she got 3 of these, so 6 in each little tray. They're silicone, so they pop out really easily. If you have something that's more firm, I would say you are going to need to grease it. We find the silicone that we didn't need to grease, the donuts after they've cooled for a few minutes actually popped right out. So grease or no grease, up to you, but with the silicone, don't really need to, at least not with this recipe. And I think she paid about $8.50 on Amazon for the 3-pack. So not too much. You can order them through Walmart. You can order them through other places online, but pretty reasonable price if you want to make yourself a donut bagel shaped something. So we are going to do our dessert here. These are meant to be a little bit higher in protein. So the first ingredient we're actually going to start with is some vanilla protein powder. So I've got 1/2 cup of vanilla protein powder in my mixing bowl. And then we are going to add our almond flour. I got about 1/2 cup of almond flour here. I've got 1/4 cup of the coconut flour. We haven't done coconut flour in a while, but I do need to mention coconut flour is very unique in that it's very absorbent. So you can't really just trade out one of the other substances for the coconut flour because of that absorption factor. So whenever you're doing a recipe with coconut flour in it, you really need to use coconut flour because that will change the consistency if you use a different type of flour. So we've got that in here. Of course, we need some salt. We need some pumpkin pie spice, right? And then we got a little bit of baking powder. I think a teaspoon of baking powder going into this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and just stir these together. And then we're going to move on to our wet ingredients. So again, I think you're going to find actually they're not too bad. They're actually fairly easy. I mean, I don't even know what the hardest part is. Maybe spooning it into the mold, I suppose. All right, so we got to have pumpkin. All right, so we've got our half a cup of pumpkin. So we've got that here in our extremely large mixing bowl. And then we do have some plain Greek yogurt. So a little bit more of that plain Greek yogurt that we need to use. Just want to have a little container of that around, right? Because that could be used for other things. You can use that as a sour cream substitute. I have a lot of patients who will put just some plain Greek yogurt into their smoothie because that adds a little bit of extra protein. And so they find that that just is a really nice way to increase that protein. And you can use the whey powder as well, but you can only do so much of that, right? Let's be honest. All right, so I've got these couple ingredients in here, and then we're gonna go ahead and add 2 eggs. Boom, boom, right there. I've got a 1/4 cup of some milk. So we're gonna put that in here, whichever fat level you like or you feel is better for you and your situation and where you are at. I've got 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So we're gonna put that in, and then just a little bit of sweet. I've got 2 tablespoons of a sugar-free maple syrup here. So just the normal sugar-free syrup, or we like to use, again, the monk fruit maple syrup. So that's what we've got going in here. And that's going to add the sweetness that you're going to be looking in for. There's also going to be a little bit of a sweetener in that vanilla protein powder. So we do have a couple layers of a little bit of sweet. But I got to tell you, I found the sweetness was actually really quite balanced. It was a little bit sweet, but not too sweet. Had a little bit of that spicy kind of flavor to it with the pumpkin pie spice. Not hot spicy, but just spiced, right? So it really was, I mean, Amber and I thought after we made them the first time, oh my gosh, these are good as they're, like, you don't even need the frosting. You may want to do the frosting. Frosting's still good. But you could eat them without the frosting and they'd be fantastic. Or you know what you could do, for anyone who really wants to do this now, you could probably put it in a muffin tin. I bet that would work out just fine as well. All right, I'm going to add my dry to my wet, because that's how it's going here. So let's get that in there. There we go. So I'm just going to incorporate this all together. And then all we're going to do is spoon it into our molds. You know, mostly full, 3/4 full, right around there. I'm going to see if I can get this to spread out over 12 donuts. So they're not super huge for any of you who need a smaller item. These are not real huge. These, I think, are 3-inch donut molds, so you can get them bigger and smaller. We just thought that was a pretty good size. And of course, you can always do half, right? All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, again, try not to get my cape in the oven. Although the stew is over there, bubbling and doing its thing. So, okay, so let's take another poll, because I'm always curious. Okay, who loves the pumpkin spice in the fall? Do we have any fans? And what kind of things do we like? I have really been digging the pumpkin fall everything. This, like, if you go to Trader Joe's, it's like pumpkin all over, like pumpkin pasta, pumpkin crackers, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin probably ice cream. I don't even know. What's your fave, guys? What's your fave? We got some typers. Yeah, Amber raised her hand too. She's got a favorite as well. I can see it. I do like a pumpkin spice latte. I think those are pretty good. I'm trying to think of what I had the other day. I tried some pumpkin ravioli, but it was okay. Not my favorite. All right, what do we got, Amber? Do we have some peeps on there?
People are still typing.
Oh, okay. We're waiting for the incoming. Got it. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about pumpkin spice and fall. So who was it? Was it Starbucks who made that like a big deal? At some point, not too many years ago, some business made it all the rage. And I feel like it was probably Starbucks.
Pumpkin chocolate chip cookies and pumpkin bread.
Oh, yeah.
Not really very.
Not good for you, but totally fun. Hands down. Yeah, that's one of my favorite, or my husband's favorite. He likes the pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. So I guess I better make
Someone
some of
said
those.
pumpkin soup.
Oh, pumpkin soup. Yeah.
And what we tried the other day at Starbucks for my birthday free Starbucks
Ooh,
was the pumpkin spice syrup is not sugar free. So I had to do sugar free vanilla, 2 pumps or something really low. They wanted to put 5 pumps in there. I'm like, no, with
Yeah.
pumpkin spice frothed into the almond milk. They steamed the pumpkin spice into the milk. And Jen, you tried that. It was pretty good.
It was good.
It
Yeah.
wasn't super pumpkin-y.
Not super pumpkin.
No.
There was some there. Yeah, there was some.
I like to put in my coffee with my lactose-free half and half, and I use one of those little frother. They're like a blender, but you blend that in there. That's it for me. I don't really eat a lot of pumpkin.
You know, another idea, especially if you're a coffee lover, is to pour some pumpkin pie spice over your coffee grounds and then run your coffee maker, and it will add some of that flavor into your black coffee. And then of course, you know, if you're trying to watch out for the sugar and stuff, you can just put some cream in there to that. But that's something I've done before too.
Someone said pumpkin chai tea.
Oh yeah.
And then we got a tip
really
from a fellow baker.
Oh,
She said next time use a piping
thank you.
thing to put
No,
in those
you're totally
donut
right.
molds.
That would have been faster. We actually are going to do that a little bit later.
With the eggs.
We're gonna pipe our deviled eggs, our ghosted the deviled eggs. We're gonna get to those last though, because those are the easiest. All right. Well, I got 11, and honestly, I just don't want to take the time to redistribute everything, so I'm not going to. We're gonna get this into the oven right now.
They are very good. I think this would be my favorite pumpkin thing of the year.
Yeah,
The donuts. When they're warm, they don't taste as good when they're cold.
It's like a Krispy Kreme donut when they come right off the cooker, right? They come right off the belt, super good. Not that we should be doing that, but if you've been there, you know what I mean. Similar, right? When they come out, they've only had a few minutes to cool. They're nice and warm. They're moist. They're really, really good. So these are not dry. They're very moist, very flavorful. All right, so those are going to sit in the oven for about 15 minutes or so. And then we'll pull those guys out. And then we should make the frosting, I suppose, right? We should probably make some frosting for these guys. And the frosting is going to be really, really easy. All we've got to do is mix a couple ingredients here together. So I've got my powdered sweetener. So I've got a powdered sugar substitute sweetener. Yeah, I know, my witch's hat is really coming down over my face. There we go. So we use Swerve, but any other powdered sugar substitute you can go ahead and use. So we've got that in a bowl. We're gonna have a little, oh my gosh, I almost dropped the vanilla, Amber. That would have been sad. All right, so we're gonna have our vanilla, cinnamon, add a little flavor to this guy. And then of course we gotta have a little bit of cream. But you could do milk. I think the cream tastes better. That's just me personal. This is a dessert, so we're gonna ahead and go for the gusto, as they say. But then all you gotta do is whisk this guy up and just get it all really well incorporated and let it hang out until you're ready to frost them. Let them cool. The closer they are to room temperature, the better this frosting is gonna stick, because it is gonna run off a little bit. So you don't wanna frost them while they're still hot, or you're gonna lose most of your frosting off the edges. But that is it. Bada bing, bada boom, right there, which is making her concoction. All right, so I'm gonna let those sit in the oven until they are done. Our stew is bubbling over here on the side, so I'm gonna check on that in a few minutes. I think we're ready for another commercial break, and we are ready to move on to another fantastic recipe. You guys are really gonna like this one. It's really good. All right, see y'all in a minute.
Okay, everyone. I saw a couple of questions when we were talking about what you love about pumpkin. And one of them, Tony, I didn't know what that was. I'm so sorry. So I want to ask you about that. Because I can pronounce it, I think. Let's see, where was it? He said, where was it? You said pumpkin spice. Oh, you edited it. That's what it was. Pumpkin spice bread. And it's really good. Toasted with butter. That's what it was. Okay. And then Barb, yes, got to get the piping bag for the donuts, totally. And someone said, can you use pumpkin spice with the frosting? Ooh, Cornelia, great idea. You totally could. And also someone asked, I think Barb asked, what post-op stage of our diet is okay to use nut flours? You know what? This is an excellent question. And I have told people, depending on what you're making, like these could totally be in the soft food diet. No problem. Yeah, they're very soft. They're kind of bready, so it will be a little more filling. Typically, we wait for things like that after 6 weeks, but it depends. Some of our patients are pretty close to holidays, and so we kind of eke through some of those times. But the almond flour obviously is going to be a lot less filling than a regular flour, of course. So that is an excellent question. Okay, someone else is typing. I don't know if I said pumpkin soup. I think I did. I don't think I did. Pumpkin soup also, someone said. Okay. So I know I'm just not, you know what? I just love pumpkin pie, and that's what I do. That's about it. I got pumpkin pie. And that is we make an excellent sugar-free pumpkin pie here, but this year we're not doing pumpkin pie, we're doing sugar-free pecan pie, which brings me to an announcement I didn't make, and I need to make this now. Next month, November 14th, a little early, Thanksgiving feast. So we put together a meal that you and your loved ones can enjoy, that you can share. Kind of like this, kind of like the last month where we're doing tailgates and potlucks. We're all about, should we want people to eat like we do? Obviously, because it makes it a whole lot easier in our families or in our gatherings. And so next month, we're going to be doing the Thanksgiving feast we do every year. Sometimes we do things that you don't normally have, and sometimes we go traditional. And one of the traditional items we are going to do is pecan pie, and I'm very excited because it's one of my favorites, and it's usually full of sugar and eggs, so I'm so curious to see how it's going to turn out. Probably amazing in a more keto fashion. Okay, and then next month we have our healthy living series. It starts November 4th. It's every Tuesday from 11:30 to 12, and this is our vitamins and minerals unsung heroes, right? And so these are some of the extra vitamins and minerals that we don't talk about in some of our classes, and how they affect our bodies. So I'm going to be teaching that in November, and we are recording these, so we're very excited. We're going to put the gut healthy living should be up within a week. Our tech guy has it, and it's all set and ready to go. It's a 4-part series, and they're each about 15-20 minutes. They're not a half an hour each once they're recorded, because we have time for questions and things like that in a live class. So it's a little bit shorter, which is nice. And same with the vitamins and minerals. That one will be up next. And then we'll have a habits class, which we do every January. That will be also posted. So please sign up for the healthy living class. It's very, very informative and nice and short. Some of our classes are kind of long, right? So that's a nice short one. Let's see. Someone has a question. I would say no. Can we put the stew in a blender to liquefy? I mean, you can. If you want it to look like newborn baby poop, I'm sorry. Yes, but if you want to have it during a liquid phase, I suppose you could. Yeah, if you let the meat out, that might be better if you're going to liquefy it. That is a funny question. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, for soft food, you can eat it during the soft food time. You do not need to liquefy it. So I would just say yes to eat it during the soft time. You do not need to liquefy it. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't want you pureeing things for the soft food. Can we eat low carb tortillas? Ooh, great question. I was just going to talk about net carbs and low carbs, because those are made with flour, Milka, and can be very heavy. And basically, a lot of it is marketing and food companies wanting to get this crowd of people that still want to eat the bready, creamy, sweet stuff and supposedly not have the effect on their blood sugar, which can store fat for energy. So I'll go ahead and get on to that one right now while we're waiting for Jen. So basically, this net carb craze, and thank you so much for bringing that up with low carb tortillas or homemade corn tortillas. Those are very high in carbohydrates, super high. Corn actually is one of the at least for me, when I had a continuous glucose monitor on, it can be very triggering and raise your blood sugar quite high. So just to be aware of that, depending on the stage that you're in post-surgically. So the biggest thing is there's no legal definition of net carb, right? So a lot of it is food manufacturing, putting fiber in foods. So these low carb tortillas are regular flour and regular salt and regular baking powder. And then they add something in it called inulin, which is fiber. And of course, fiber is good for us. We need more fiber. And it's sometimes we have a teeny tiny little one with a little street size. That would be what I would recommend, even with a homemade corn tortilla, the teeny tiny one, street size, that's it. Anything else is going to be way too many carbs. I don't care about the net carb part, because if you, let's say you get a regular size tortilla that says 0 net carbs, but it has 20 grams of carbs in it, that's 20 grams of fiber, and you're not going to be able to go to the bathroom. Like, so you might be thinking, oh, I need more fiber. Well, you can get too much fiber, and especially from some of those sources, they can end up causing a little bit more constipation. It's better to get fiber from beans and fruits and vegetable from whole foods. Milka says, I'm a bread lover and been trying to stop eating the bread because the surgeon informed me no more bread. Can we substitute? Oh, you're in luck, Milka. We're doing it right now. That's our next recipe, and it's amazing. You're going to love this. I'm a bread person too, and I have trained myself to really not be. It's been great. It's taken a while. It's not instant, but these little rolls that we're doing right now really, really help, because you can actually cut them in half and toast them and put butter on them. And I've used them as a burger bun. I've used them just as toast, and they're amazing. And you can make a pizza out of them. They're great. Okay, so back to the net carb. So what happens is, again, they put this concept out there so that people can, right, think, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. I can do this. If I'm trying to stay under 50 grams of carbs, well, if I have my Bariatric app or my MyFitnessPal and it says my net carbs are 20, oh, I'm doing it, right? I'm doing good. And it just gets a little fuzzy because there's not a lot of research behind it. Some people say, I had a patient in my office. It's like, can't we take off the fiber and the sugar alcohol, and then that's what we're left with? Well, as far as blood sugar goes, fiber does help, okay? But there's been still kind of wonky research on whether sugar alcohols don't affect blood sugar, because sometimes they affect certain people's blood sugar. So it's not always, oh, sugar alcohol doesn't affect it, because sometimes it does. So because, it does affect some people, we recommend having it be minimal. So here's an example. Power Bar. I haven't heard of Power Bars in years, but I guess they're still out there. Power Bar has a new double chocolate protein plus carb select. It only has 2 grams of what is called net carbs, or some people are using the term impact carbs. And the nutrition facts label, unfortunately, says it has 30 grams of carbs. It's actually really high in calories too, about 260 calories. So, which is not terrible. I mean, protein bars I've seen are kind of higher at 200, right? But some of my patients only eat half and try to save those for traveling in different times, because they're basically glorified candy bars. I mean, let's be real. That's what they are, with a bunch of protein added. So the impact carbs or net carbs are usually something that marketers tell us, so that because that fiber and the sugar or the sugar alcohol has minimal effect on our blood sugar. So that can be helpful. Again, it can also affect you. So I would say, those of you that are diabetic, you want to make sure you're monitoring when you're eating these foods. So if you have a continuous glucose monitor, you're going to see. I had one for some time to see what things triggered me. And I will tell you, that homemade corn tortilla, oh my word. I mean, that spiked it worse than something sweeter in nature. I was surprised. And there are some sugar alcohols that can raise your blood sugar. So you want to make sure that in our practice, we focus on total carbs. So after surgery, we want you to stay between 0 and 3 months. We want you to stay at less than 30 grams of carbs. I mean, 50 a day. My apologies. I was looking at Jen and realizing that we got to move on to the next recipe, I think. We got a couple minutes anyway. So that's different. We want you to focus on total carbs. And obviously fiber is awesome. And we can talk about that at your 6-week visit where you should be aiming for. Okay, on to Jen. We're going to talk about this bread because boy, is it good. All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go. So we got to have some rolls, right? So we got some RIP rolls right here. And this is going to be very similar to some of the bread-like items that we've done in the past. So they've not all been exactly the same. There've been little tweaks to them, just kind of based on what we're doing with it or the shape we're giving it. But we gotta have some rolls. I mean, rolls and stew, it just sounds really good together, right? And so these are going to be cheese-based. I've got 2 cups of mozzarella cheese here and about 2 ounces or a quarter of a brick of some cream cheese. And I just pop that into the microwave, about 30 seconds at a time, just to kind of melt it without burning it, is what we were going for here. And then I've got a cup and a half of some almond flour. So we're going to go ahead and get that in. I've got to have a little bit of baking powder, right? That's going to help give us a little bit of lift. 2 eggs. Ta-da! Right there. So I'm going to get that all in there. And then I do have some optional Parmesan. And this really just was kind of born out of the fact that I had a container with a little bit of Parmesan cheese left in it. And I thought, wouldn't that taste really good in a roll? So I'm going to toss in, guys, looks like I've got, I don't know, 1.5 to 2-ish tablespoons of some Parmesan cheese right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sprinkle that in as well. But I mean, waste not, want not, right? I'm going to make sure we're using what we have with the grocery prices, as bananas as it is. I'm going to make sure we're using our food. So I'm just working this. We are working to get it into a dough ball is what we're coming on to here. And this is going to be a little sticky, not too bad, but a little bit. And then what we're going to try and do is divide it into 12 little dough balls. These do rise, so these do get a little bit bigger. So you do want to make them smaller than what you think they actually are going to end up being afterwards. Holy cow, it's better to get your hands in there. I just don't want to, but I really should. I'll take my rings off. Get in here on this guy. All right.
Gloves.
What?
You want some gloves?
Oh, no, I'll be good. I'll just wash my hands afterwards. They'll be really sticky. It'll be fine.
Gloves, but add some too.
Okay, Amber likes to do it with gloves. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and start forming my rolls here. So we actually did something like this last year for our Thanksgiving class. So who knows, we might do something kind of like it again. I don't know. We'll see. But if you like bread, if you like rolls, if that is your jam, this is a great way to get some of that same kind of vibe. I'm going to use my little cutter here to cut this into fairly even quarters so that I get it pretty close to the same size here for these guys. So one of our other thoughts, actually, Amber brought this up, was like maybe you could do this and you could put it into like a little loaf pan and see if you can get kind of like a bready kind of a shape, which I think you probably could. You might have to do mini loaf pans. I don't know. We'd have to test that, shouldn't we? We should test that, Amber.
Okay.
Should test if you can make bread out of this. Wouldn't that be awesome? All right, so I'm just trying to get this as evenly broken up as I can. It's actually not too bad. If it's really too sticky, just add a little extra almond flour to it. That's all you'll need to do, and just get that in there. But this is actually working pretty good, pretty fast. Oopsie daisy. And then what we're gonna do once we have all of these ready to go, I'm just gonna brush a little bit of melted butter on there. Do you have to? Well, no. Does it taste good? Yes. So that is what we like to do with these guys. Another thing you could do with these, you can make them a little bit bigger and flatten them. And they can be buns, which I think Amber mentioned earlier. So you can make them into like a burger bun or a slider size kind of a bun. And that can be a great way, again, to get that bready kind of experience that you might be looking for. Okay. Yeah. I'm so sticky. Give me a sec. Also, while we were in commercial break, I put the Greek yogurt and the cream cheese into our stew. So I've got our stew off to the side over here. You can see the edge of it. And so I turned it down, right? So we want it to more of a simmer when we add those creamy things in, but I added those in, and you know, the whole brick of cream cheese goes in. I usually just let it sit there for a few minutes and then start breaking it up as it gets warmer and warmer. So that is there. And then our donuts. I think our donuts are ready to go, Amber. I should probably grab those guys out, huh? Let me just butter these rolls here. So these actually got some really nice form to them. Oh, you guys, this is our favorite. I mean, the stew is really good. The donuts are really good. The rolls are our favorite, right? We are those bready folk. So we like a little bit of that stuff here. Okay, great. So we've got that. Let's get these donuts out and see what we got. Oh, that looks good. All right, let me, oh, these smell so good. You guys, I'm so sorry you can't smell these. They smell really, really good. All right, but this is what we got right there. Right, so they lifted up a little bit, not too much, but oh, these look great. Yeah, woo, yes, it's gonna be good. All right, so we're gonna push these off to the side. I'm gonna let those cool right here, and then we gotta get these guys in as well. So we've got to get those guys in, and I think I just dropped my oven mitt now too. Those are going to go in for 15 minutes also, so they don't need a lot of time. I don't need that on anymore, do I? Right there.
What's
About
the timer
15.
for?
Oh, the timer was for the donuts.
Okay.
The timer keeps going off, telling me to take the donuts out of the oven. All right, so we need another timer for 15 minutes. Go. So it doesn't take very long for those guys, which is fantastic, right? They're going to be in, they're going to be out. It's going to be great. Let's take another quick commercial break, and then we'll move on to that last recipe. And we're going to take this guy home. All right. It's all you, Amber.
Okay, everyone. We've got a couple questions. Tony has an interesting question. Can we make the rolls into tortillas? You know, sure. I would think more of like a wrap for a sandwich would be interesting to kind of spread it out, but it is pretty bready. Like we use the same dough for pizza, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic for everything. So sure, you could add a little liquid, Tony, and make it more thin. Absolutely. Yes, Santana says, I wish I was working in the same building so I could stop by and taste. Yes, I know. Me too. Me too. And yes, the pizza, I'm a huge bread and pizza person, and I love that what we do because it's so fun to be able to test it and be like, you know what, that sounds weird, but it's not. It's really good. Okay, so we have a really quick break because we're getting close to the end here, and we have one more recipe still to do. So we've got to, you know, show you guys everything. So I have a little bit of trivia for you for Halloween while we're waiting for Jen to get ready for this final recipe. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you just can type it in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand and say it out loud. You can just unmute yourself. Okay, what vegetable was originally used to make jack-o'-lanterns? I did not know this one. This is a good one. Which vegetable was originally used to make jack-o'-lanterns? Aha, Trina, she wins. Turnips. Okay, and here's surprising too. Which country did Halloween originate in? Don't answer it if you know it, Jen. No fair if you know it, because she's a Halloween person, so she probably knows it. Maggie's typing. Maggie knows. Ireland. Yay. Okay. Oh, this one's probably too easy. I'm not going to give you guys that one. Okay, let's see. Let's see. This one I didn't realize too, but makes sense. I love this. This is kind of a trivia for kids. I printed out adults and kids, but this one's fun. What is the most popular Halloween costume for kids? Most popular Halloween costume for kids. Jen says Dracula. No, Jen, not Dracula. Something much more encouraging. A superhero. I bet if you did say girls, it would be princess for sure. Okay, Jen, are you ready? Okay, so we can get our food out and show you all. Okay, I'm going to send it back to Jen, but that was it. That's all I got for trivia, and I have so much more. It's fun. Okay.
Hey, what's up? We are back. We got our last recipe here that we're going to try and just bang out so that we can get all this food out to show you here at the end. We are making some ghosted the devil eggs, right? We don't want to be ghosted. No one likes to be ghosted, but I think we could ghost the devil, right? So that's what we got here, some ghosted the devil eggs. So we are going to hard boil our eggs. We've already done that. We have halved them and scooped out the yolks and put those into a bowl. And then what I've got in here so far is 1/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt, 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, right? I know a lot of times with these, you're just doing mayonnaise, but if we can cut that mayonnaise down, we are cutting down the fat a little bit, and we're adding protein by using the Greek yogurt as a partial substitute for that. And then I've got a couple teaspoons of Dijon mustard. I kind of like that. I think that's pretty good. In my deviled eggs, salt, pepper, and then a little garlic powder. So just a little something in there just to kind of, add a little flavor into these guys. And then you can, of course, you can just use your fork and you can really just kind of mash and whisk this all up. But I'm a little bit of a snob maybe this way. I don't know. I like to get it as smooth as possible. I just think it's weird to have the pieces, like the yolk pieces in there. I don't know. Call me weird. But I just prefer to try and take my hand mixer. If I was really trying to be thorough, I probably have my my wand blender out too. But I'm just going to give these a really good whip. And then we are going to use Barbara's advice, right? It was Barbara. Yes. We're going to use Barbara's advice. And we are going to spoon it into a bag. And then we're going to pipe it into our little egg white halves. And so here's one thought I have. Like, I don't know about you guys. I really don't like hard boiling eggs. I really don't. Really, actually, I don't mind the hard boiling part. What I really don't like is the peeling part, right? That is the worst part about hard-boiled eggs. So I used to not make hard-boiled eggs very often because I didn't like to peel those suckers. Like they got all piecey, right? And it's just like you're pulling out tiny pieces of the shell. And I just didn't like that. I didn't think it was worth it. And then one day, an Instant Pot saved my life. I need the scissors. There's scissors around here. Oh, got it. All right, so this is the piping trick. We're gonna put it into a bag. We're gonna close the top. We're gonna cut off the corner, and voila! You have made yourself a piping bag. And then we're just gonna pull all of this tight together. And we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna push these into these egg white halves and kind of like roll it a little bit so I can get a little bit of a wave. So it kind of looks a little bit like Casper the Ghost. Or who's that? What's that green guy? What's that green guy on the Ghostbusters? Slimer. Slimer, you gotta have that kind of weird, a little bit funky looking shape to it. So that's what we're doing here. And then if you want to really go, have some fun with it, you can give them some eyes. And I use some chili pepper flakes to give them some eyes, or you can cut up some black olives, give them some eyeballs. And that's kind of a nice, fun way to do it. And you can do some of the stereotypical stuff. You can sprinkle it with some paprika if you want to. I've almost got them. Ta-da! Anyway. Instant Pot will hard boil your eggs, and they are a dream to peel. Like they just come right off. I sold it on Amber. She hard boiled these eggs in her Instant Pot in her pressure cooker, and she's like, "This is great. This is fantastic. All right, so this is what we've got. I'll go ahead and I'll put some little eyeballs on them for you guys. I know you won't be able to see them very well, but it's in the picture that's on the recipe. Little eyeballs. All right, so we're going to go to our last commercial break. We're going to pull all of this food together for you and show you everything that we have done today.
Oh, we're having so much fun in here. I started getting stuff ready to show you guys. And Jed's like, aren't you going to talk to people? I'm like, no, we have 3 minutes. I am very OCD about time. I'm like, no, I have to get the recipes ready. And you guys are just sitting there in radio silence. Okay, I got a couple more trivia for you while you're waiting. Oh, okay, the 5-5-5 method, Trina. It's 5 minutes in the Instapot, 5 minutes while it naturally sets off steam, and then 5 minutes in an ice bath. And I just got a big like bowl full of ice and water and I did 5 minutes. I had tricky because my Instapot doesn't have like a minute thing or an egg thing. So I had to do chicken and then I hit time cook and I went down to 5 minutes. So, but I forgot water the first time I did it. So it doesn't cook. Your Instapot basically doesn't even turn on without water, which is interesting to know, by the way. Probably bad for it. I'm glad I didn't do it too many times. So then I put some water in it under the trivet and it did great. 5 minutes. So I wish there was a setting. I had, like I said, I picked chicken or you could pick beef. I wouldn't pick stew. I think I picked stew at first. That's not going to be hot enough. So I did the chicken because it's going to be hot. And I just went down to 5 minutes. So 5-5-5. If you look it up on internet, it says it's foolproof 5-5-5 method. So anyway, that is the key. It looks like we have everything ready. Even though I don't think the rolls are fully cooked, you're going to be able to see them. And that's okay. They look like rolls. All right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put Jen back on the camera.
All right, she put me back. Here I are. So we've got our stew right here. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. There we go. We got some cilantro and we've got some pickled jalapeno slices. You could put some sour cream, of course, some sprinkled cheese, olives, a lot of fun stuff to go on top of this guy for your garnishes. So those are going to be great. And here are those donuts, you guys. All right, here you are. Ta-da. We frosted some and we left some unfrosted because they're both really good. So either way, you got a winner right there. And then, of course, we've got our rolls. Ta-da. That's what they're going to look like. Ours still need a few more minutes, but it's fine. They look like what they're supposed to look like when they're done. Oops, and that one just took it. It's just, this is a day. Just like throwing stuff around everywhere. And then we have our ghost of the deviled egg. So I know it's kind of hard to see. I'll try to get kind of close, but I put some eyeballs on just a few of them. It's on the picture. You guys can see it there, but it's just kind of fun. It's really quick. Yeah, I don't think you could probably see that very good. So it's just kind of a fun way to dress up your deviled eggs to make them holiday worthy, if you will. So great recipes for today. I'm sure you guys are going to love them. Not too hard to make, so pretty easy, very tasty. Some of this stuff is going to freeze well. Even the donuts are going to freeze well if you don't frost them. So you can make a batch and save some for later. But you guys, I hope you enjoyed this fall season. I hope you enjoy the rest of October. If you like Halloween, happy Halloween. And I hope you have an enjoyable Halloween Friday. It's probably going to be bananas because it's Friday. But we really appreciate you guys spending your time and joining us here in the kitchen as well. And I'll let Amber close it out. Yeah?
Just in case you haven't seen it, if you go to the YouTube, you'll see St. Luke's Health System. You got to make sure that you have the cross there, right? There's quite a few St. Luke's. And then also after you click on playlist, then you click on bariatric nutrition and then click view full playlist and you'll see all of our videos there, including the healthy living ones coming up very, very soon. And then if you just are like, I don't even know what classes you offer, you can go to St. Luke's Bariatric Nutrition in your Google and it will pull up us, pictures of Jen and myself. And then at the bottom of the page, we'll show you all of our classes. So be sure if you want to sign up for the classes that you reach out and send us an email at bariatric support@slhs.org to sign up for any classes that we have coming up. It is a great way to stay connected. It's a great way to stay up on everything, especially some of you year or 2 years out. It helps because we don't see you as much. And so it's kind of nice to stay connected. We're always doing awesome things in this class. I don't, it's so funny. I always think I'm bragging, but I'm not bragging. This is a privilege for us to be able to do this. It's a really fun part of our job. And I love to cook. I know Jen, she likes to cook. She likes to eat, but she, it's hard. We both dream about cooking more maybe when our kids are gone, right? Where we can really enjoy it more instead of just, just shoveling it out there. But we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful, crisp Friday. So 2 minutes, 12:02, we did it. We made it. All right. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for your thank yous. You are all very welcome. We love, love, love being here and doing this and sharing this time with you. Take care.